Hey everyone, and welcome once more to the April edition of our long-running series, where we take a look over some of the most promising looking indie games seeking your support on the KickStarter funding platform. After a good 18 months of relative slowdown, we're once more starting to see a general uplift in the overall activity, with plenty of great and interesting looking games coming to the service. Before we get into the games looking for funding this month, let's take a few short moments to see how those we featured in March did against their aims. Well, in truth, it was another solid month, with 4 out of the 5 games we featured making it successfully over their fundraising targets. Barn Finders, a game inspired by a hit TV show where you scavenge and sell off items you find within abandoned barns, brought in just over 22,000 Canadian dollars versus a target of 10 grand. The full launch of the game is expected out later in the summer. Up next, in Jitsu Squad, well, the team were looking for €50,000, which at today's rate is around the $55,000 mark. Now, the team cancelled the campaign with just over €17,000 in funding, citing the overall uncertainty of the coronavirus. In a statement posted on their funding page, the developers have committed to continue working on the game and have a view of coming back to the platform once more later in the year. Next up, we had Outbrk, a massively multiplayer storm-chasing simulation game based on real-world weather data. Now, this was also successful, with it bringing in 36,000 Canadian dollars versus a goal of 30,000. The full launch is slated for this coming December. Help Will Come Tomorrow was also successful, where it took over $14,000 against a target of 12,000. This resource management game with a twist in how much of the game is narrative driven comes out today, April 21st on Steam and all the usual consoles. And the last game we featured from our March Kickstarter episode, Vibrant Ventures, was also successful, taking home just over $14,000 versus a goal of round 9,500. This exquisite looking 2D platformer with puzzle elements, well, it's expected out towards the end of 2021. With the roundup for March all taken care of, let's crack on with the best looking games we found on Kickstarter over this April 2020. Up first, and at number 5, Chinatown Detective Agency has, as this video goes live, around 5 days left in the campaign, with it also being fully funded past its original goal of around $39,000 or around 31,500 Great British pounds. Here you play as a former Interpol agent, having gone freelance as you go about solving a number of investigations deep into the heart of Chinatown. Inspired by and playing out like the point-and-click antics seen within the Carmen Sandiego games, you'll be needing to explore the world, collecting pieces of evidence, all the while gathering clues from speaking with witnesses, and then acting on such info, deciding which leads you should ignore and which to follow up. There's a demo available via itch.io, and we spent much of yesterday evening playing it. Aside from the stunning pixel art and the excellent voice acting, there seems to be an ongoing theme that works pretty well, is how you're undertaking real-time, real-world investigations outside of the game. For example, in one section, you need to go over and type a phrase into Google, and by doing so you discover the answer before using it as a password to gain access to a computer within the game. Now, that's a pretty neat touch, and we're wondering whether other outside-of-the-box kind of things will feature in this game as and when it launches towards the end of the year. Chinatown Detective Agency is very much looking like a game to keep an eye on, with its campaign wrapping up on April 28th.
The God game genre is back.
Up next, and with just over 11 or so days to go in its campaign, Fata Deum has stormed past its initial goal of €40,000, which is around $43,500. If you haven't seen this one before, well, it's at the moment a single-player God game that's looking to elevate the genre above, well, let's say the likes of Spore and perhaps the Black and White series. In the beginning, this one is all set to let you play as any type of god you want to be. You can be all nice and benevolent, or you can go out all bloodthirsty tyrant, with you doing your utmost to terrorize and cause mayhem to your mere mortals. Each to their own and that. Now, god games, from our experience at least, don't tend to be something we play for an overly long time. The format, to our mind, can become quickly limited and stale. That being said, in looking what the team are aiming to deliver here, The technical and graphical foundations, well, they were already complete. This one may very well offer the interactivity and player freedom these games tend to miss out on. This has an estimated shipping date of April 2021, and as we mentioned earlier, having more than 11 days left in the campaign as this video goes to air, we're hugely excited to see how much the team bring in when this campaign closes on Sunday, May 3rd. At number 3, we have 9 Years of Shadows, and while it's got a good 10 or so days to go, it's obliterated its target of around $15,000 or 13 grand in the UK, and at the time of writing has collected around $40,000. Inspired clearly by games such as Castlevania, Metroid and Mega Man, 9 Years of Shadows sees you play as a battle maiden called Europa, as she explores a tragic past within a world without colour. Now this all takes place within a giant mechanical castle that was once home to an orphanage in this dark 2D side-scrolling combat adventure, in what the developers have said will also come with a strong emphasis on emotional storytelling, alongside the exploration and combat. There's a demo to play today if you fancy taking a better look at this one, and so far it looks and plays out all rather nicely, with it expected to come onto Steam and the Nintendo Switch towards the end of the year. Stretch goals already met include additional game mode, additional headcount to work on the pixel art and level design, with perhaps more goals to be added as the campaign goes on. As for the music, well, the legendary composers of both Castlevania and Mega Man are involved, so we can expect these aspects to be utterly top-notch. 9 Years of Shadows looks pretty special. Its campaign ends on April the 30th.
It's fast. It's elegant. It's dangerous.
Italian.
This is Maverick, Mike, Harry Poppins, or whatever you want me to call him.
At number 2, we have Commander 85, with it looking for a super modest 6,000 Canadian dollars, which in today's money is around 42,000 US or 3,400 UK. Commander 85 sees you play as a Polish immigrant into the city of Chicago during the 1980s. Now the premise here comes by way of you playing as a child, with you receiving for a birthday gift what appears to be an ordinary computer, although in reality, within it sits a highly advanced AI that by all accounts, while not only able to interact with you and your parents in super sarcastic tones, is also able to take humanity to the very brink of nuclear war. We're pretty taken by Commander 85 for essentially nostalgic reasons, although the promise of hacking-based gameplay, together with playing games and messing around with the computer OS, well, it looks very much like DOS from all the way back when, might make this quite an interesting game to take a further look at. With 18 or so days before the campaign ends on May 9th, Commander 85 needs around $1,000 more, with further stretch goals including additional content, right up to a VR mode, which seems a tad out of reach at the moment, but who knows. Commander 88 is expected to ship this coming autumn, with it going to Steam, the PlayStation 4, Xbox One and the Nintendo Switch. At number 1 for this April 2020 Kickstarter showcase video, we have Aeterna Noctis, which you're probably not too surprised in seeing it is another 2D styled Metroidvania that's near as darn looking to raise $65,000 US. With more than 13 days to run on the campaign the day this video goes to air, the team are just under a third of the way in making this goal. Now, like a few others in this rundown, there's a demo which you can pick up, and it gives a great little taster of what to expect, with the game coming out sometime late 2021. Now the graphics and animations are very sweetly done, and the platforming sections in the demo feel well implemented, and as the developers say, they offer up a clean and fluid overall experience. We did find the demo brutally tough in places, and so far, we haven't been able to see away the final boss. That said, Looking at some of the recent press info, the team have gone and reduced this section's overall difficulty, so that gives us another reason to take a further look. While there's still a long way to go, both in terms of the length of the campaign and how much money is still needed to be brought in, we think if this one gets some more eyeballs on it, it might find a way of getting across the finishing line. And we'll be sure to recap how this did, and all of the other games featured in this rundown, fared against their goals in next month's Kickstarter review video. So will you be backing or taking a better look at any of the games featured in this video? If so, let us know down in the comments, and while you're here, if you've liked the video, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you already haven't done so. As always, many thanks for watching, and we'll see you all here again soon for another video.